The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Achtung Millwall podcast supports the Lions Food Hub, dear listeners, and you can do too by getting yourself an Achtung Millwall t-shirt from noonelikes.co.uk, also known as Nolu Clothing. They've got a wonderful Achtung Millwall t-shirt on there for £15. At least £8 of each sale goes to support the Lions Food Hub, which does fantastic work for families in and around the South East 16 area. Show your allegiances on the podcast front, dear listeners, by getting yourself an Achtung Millwall t-shirt, and by doing that, you'll support the wonderful, the brilliant Lions Food Hub. Noonelikes.co.uk, Achtung Millwall t-shirt, £15. Check it out.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Carter. You're listening to the number one Millwall podcast, of course. Welcome to part 2 of our weekend coverage of the, in the end, fine win over Portsmouth on Saturday, 2-1, of course, thanks to those 2 excellently taken goals, 2 excellent finishes by our big Serbian, Mihailo Ivanovic, giving us another 3 points and putting us still just about in reachy tippy toes touch with that top 6 playoff position. Just about, listeners. It's going to be a big call. We're at Sheffield United tomorrow night. We need a win to be really blunt with you. We're on 54 points, just 6 games to go in this 24-25 season now. 9th position for the Lions. A win tomorrow is a must if we're going to get in touch with Bristol City sitting in 6th spot. We also need results, other results to go our way, of course. So it's a big ask, and going to Bristol, to Sheffield, not Bristol, going to Sheffield tomorrow night is not going to be easy. I'm just looking at the BBC website, dear listeners. Millwall have won just one of their last 14 away league games against Yorkshire clubs. We've drawn 3 and lost 10 times when we've crossed the boundary into Yorkshire. A 4-0 win at Sheffield in 2023, a famous win. That was Joe Edwards' first and probably last hurrah, really, as Millwall manager, wasn't it? Since then, it's been a bleak wasteland of trips into the far northern wastes. Under Chris Wilder, Sheffield United have lost only 4 of their last 32 league home games, although 3 of these have come since Boxing Day 24, so there's a glimmer of hope there. So we're certainly going to be up against it, travelling northwards tomorrow. Fingers crossed is about all I can say. I was going to have Merv on the show, listeners. I've actually put him on, stood him down until post Sheffield United. I think our season probably rests realistically on the outcome of tomorrow night's match. So I've said to Merv, hang fire until Wednesday, when we'll talk then to review where we stand. The Angel, as I described it, I did a US YouTube channel video for the Sheffield United supporting US-based channel. And the way I put it to them was that the angel on my right shoulder, which is my head speaking, says, forget about it, Nick. My heart on the other left shoulder is saying, well, anything's possible. But we are up against it, certainly, listeners. So I think the old head is probably going to win out over the heart Just looking at the Mill news on the BBC, talking about Jeff at Tanganga, which won't help our cause tomorrow night, will it? Alex Neil said he might have broken his hand in that clash on Saturday. So can only wish Jeff at well. As I said in the previous edition, my choice of player of the season, but we probably won't have him at Bramall Lane tomorrow night, given that's the kind of diagnosis that we may be talking about. Which again, as well as Kramer and Cooper did on Saturday, I thought we will need a little bit of batting in time to get that central defensive partnership right. We'll see. This, though, dear listeners, is our voicemail show and my favourite edition. So I'm just going to do this single-handed for you as to sign off on Saturday's win. And as I said already, we'll be back on Wednesday with Merv. So I'm going to play you a sequence of voice notes nest, beginning with Jim Hackett.
Well, Nick, Jim Hackett here. Haven't been able to watch Millwall for a few weeks, and yesterday was the first opportunity I've got to see him for a while, and I thought I'd just send in a voice note and give my thoughts about the game and how it went and anything else I can think of. I think when I looked at the lineup early on, I thought it was a strange one, only because you couldn't see where he was going to put everybody, but obviously it sort of turned into a 4-4-2 with Honeyman and Connolly as our wide players, and you could see that Portsmouth had turned up not to lose the game. So for them, it was just a matter of keeping us out and hoping to hit us on the break, which I think first half, they didn't do a lot. We had a lot of possession. I thought we had a lot of the ball and we looked good without any final product. I think there was a couple of sort of semi-opportunities that we might have done better with, but eventually we half got to half time and everybody was sort of happy but not too sure what we're going to do to make the second half any better. I think Tanganga getting injured just before half time didn't help us, but at least it allowed Leonard to get back into the squad and obviously get a run out. And I have to say with him, that you could see as soon as he came in, you could tell what we'd had and what we were missing. So, that was a plus for me that he got back on, and it's just a shame that Jaffet got injured and obviously I don't know how long he'll be out. He looked to me like he'd done his fingers or, possibly his wrist by looking at the strapping, but hopefully he'll be okay in a game or two. But at least it's not coming at the wrong time for us. It's a time now where we can hopefully deal with it. The second half, I thought we looked solid. When we did score the goal, it was well deserved, and I think good delivery from Honeyman from the corner and a really good finish that, like I say, was well deserved. I think Connolly sort of kidded the goalkeeper into worrying about him and got out the way far enough for him not to be bothered about being offside. So it was a good goal, and I thought from that moment, as long as we carried on doing what we were doing, that we'd be quite happy and possibly get another one or two. But for whatever reason, at that point, Alex Neil decided, or somebody decided, that we should sort of shut up shop and just take the 3 points and just hold out. And for whatever reason, it meant that we gave Portsmouth the ability to get onto the front foot. And they made 4 subs. All the subs that came on looked like positive players for them. And so ended up where all we were doing was hanging on, and our defending was absolutely shocking at that point. And we kept giving the ball away to them. They get the ball and they recycle it. And then when they got the goal, it was back to the old calamity again of our defending not being good enough and just giving the ball away. I think even the final shot that went into our goal went through 2 players' legs to get there. And I thought our 2 central defenders there were where we had the problems. And unfortunately, our more forward players, you had Connolly and you had Coburn, who were absolutely wiped out after 60 minutes. And yet we didn't make a substitution until they scored the goal. And 83 minutes, suddenly we were making our substitutions. And I thought at that point it could have easily gone the other way, where they stayed on the front foot and gave us the problems. And as it was, the substitutions we made, Imarco coming on for that sort of 10, 15 minute spell, just made it slightly different for us and got us back looking for the winner, which, again, if we hadn't have got it, everybody would have been hacked off. But at the same time, we did get it and then saw the game out. And if you're going to go on to the team. You know, and I can't understand why he didn't make the substitutions earlier because, like I say, Coburn and Connolly were absolutely knackered and giving us nothing. You know, after about, I'd say 55 minutes, but I'll be generous and say 60. So really disappointed with that he didn't see that or anybody didn't see it, and I couldn't understand that. And then obviously the defending, and particularly Jake Cooper in the second half, for whatever reason, there was one ball where after a little bit of chaos, he still had plenty of time to actually get on the ball and pass it out. And for some reason, he just smashed it across to the sideline, just knocked it out for the sake of getting rid of it. You know, the stuff that you teach schoolboys or schoolboys do because they don't want to get shouted at. But for me, you know, he's a better player than that. And he's shown recently he's a better player than that. So that calamity defending then spreads through the rest of them. And I'll take Brian and Leonard out of that because I thought they both played excellently. And, you know, it's the two central defender, that area. If we haven't got Tanganga, we've got to deal with it better. And Cramer is supposed to be one of the better central defenders. So let's hope that they can get some sort of partnership going if Tanganga's going to be out for a while. And I think the other negative was just allowing Pompey to dictate the play after we scored. I think we're better than that. And having gone through all that work to get the goal and go one up, we could have gone on and got another couple. But that's possibly a little bit churlish from me. As for the positive, I thought yesterday, as much as people moan and groan about, I thought George Honeyman was a real plus yesterday. In a 4-4-2 where without any orthodox wingers, I thought he was bright and he was like a third central midfielder. And whenever he's required, he was out wide and he set a lot of our play up. So I was happy with him, and I know that will probably not go down well with a lot of people, but he does it for me, and I'd have him in the squad every game and sometimes in the team, depending on what sort of style he wants to go with. As for Aaron Connolly, safe receiving the ball. He's nice and bright when he's got close control, but he certainly isn't suited as a wire player for me. And if we are going to have him or we're going to use him, he's got to be that 10 player, isn't he? He's got to be the second striker that can pick the ball up in nice areas, little pockets, and play people in or go on his own. Because I think he's too good a player for us not to want to keep. But at the same time, he can't play as a wire player, I don't think. And I mean, the way he looks, you just got to say he doesn't inspire confidence. So he's got to do that with his ability rather than the way he is. So hopefully we keep him. Hopefully we get him fitter, and hopefully we find a slot for him because he's a good player. As for Jensen, I thought he had another good game, and again, all our sort of boo boy players seem to be producing for us, and I can't understand why people are still getting on people's cases, but that's football. And then Lenny coming back showed what we've been missing, so I was very happy with him. And then the two final parts, Ivanovic goals, give him quality service, and the lad scores goals, and he doesn't score bad goals, does he? He just gets good goals, but it tends to be from a good ball to him. So he has the opportunity to actually make something good of a good pass. To make something good from a bad pass, I think will come with experience. But for me, is the sort of goals he scores, absolute quality. And obviously it got us the 3 points. My final part, Nick, after this pretty long load of rubbish, I suppose, is I thought that referee yesterday was probably the worst I've seen this season. And I admit I haven't seen all of them, but I have to say he was absolute dire. And he didn't let the game flow, but at the same time, everything that could be blown up for was blown up for, and it was absolutely infuriating to watch anyway. For those who were there, I can imagine it being even worse. Well, apart from that, Nick, it's nice to let you have my thoughts on the game after so long away, and come on, you Lions.
It's good to have you back, Jim. Incidentally, listeners, if you want to join this little posse of contributors to our show, voicemail me, give me a shout. You can email me on achtungmillwall@gmail.com, or you can message me on Twitter, /X, whatever you want to call it. I'm on there as @achtungmillwall. Give me a message, we can exchange mobile numbers, and that's by far the easiest way to do it. You can send me voice notes on X, but if we do a swapsy of our mobile numbers, you can just send me a post-match reaction or whatever thoughts and musings cross your mind. But no, big thank you to Jim there. I agree entirely about that first half, Jim. 4-4-2 of sorts, no wingers, but two makeshift midfield, I suppose. I don't know what you'd call Honeyman. I thought he played very, very well, actually, George Honeyman. I know you mentioned him there. And he gives 100%. I don't know what more we can expect him to do with his skill set, really. Some people, I think, just like to come along and hate on certain players and certain individuals. I don't know what they particularly get out of that. But I thought he put maximum effort in Saturday, and within his limitations as a player, he's not Johan Cruyff, is he? I thought he gave 100%. Aaron Connolly, yeah, I mean, we've mentioned him a few times now on these recent shows. I don't have really much new to say about him. I really hope he gets his head together. That's probably my main thought. He's a short, squat player. I don't know if he's carrying a little bit around the middle. I'm not one to talk about that, dear listeners, carrying a bit of timber around the middle, but you do wonder whether this is linked in with his issues. I don't know. I would love to see him stay in the right position. I think, as Jim says, he's not really suited to the wing. I think he is suited to a more central midfield attacking position because he is skillful, he's got touch, and he's got vision, and those are attributes that we are crying out for at the Den. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him stay personally. I've seen some varying opinions online about Aaron Connolly, but I wish the boy well, and I hope that we can find the best of him. Jake Cooper had a funny old game, didn't he? The injury to Tanganga seemed to really mess with Jake's head, and Jake has obviously been with us a long while now, 360, I think, 70 odd appearances, so experienced Millwall player. And he does seem to go to pot a little bit briefly until he's established a new rapport. I'll use the French word rapport with Tristan in this particular case, because it seemed to be really something that bothered Jake. He went into a kind of a meltdown period in the second half. I must admit, I thought we're going to concede a goal through his mishaps, really. And defensively, we did look a bit at 6s and 7s in the wake of the goal. I think Alex Neil mentioned that in his post-match comments, listeners, about us sitting back off of Portsmouth and letting them come on to us. I thought they really committed bodies forward. They looked quite dangerous, I thought. And when we conceded, I could see, as Jim has said there, that we could go on and lose this one, which would have been a crying shame. The loss of Tanganga is a big deal. Let's hope that the injury is not too bad. I've mentioned already the BBC reporting he may have broken his hand, so we'll have to wait and see. It might be him for the season. Who knows? Anyway, big thank you to Jim Hackett. I'm going to go now with Aussie Dave and then a bit of Bobby T, and then we'll break for some adverts.
Nick, Aussie Dave here. Normally give my reports after watching the game in sunny Australia, but I'm actually in the UK and going to watch 4 games, and I went to the Portsmouth game yesterday, and for us fanatical international supporters, coming to Millwall is like a pilgrimage. Got there early, walked around, lovely sunshine, people drinking and lots of London accents. It was more I can dream of. Then I met a mate I haven't seen for 30 years. We sat together, watched the game. What an outcome. Then I went away to a pub, couple of pints, then a curry. A great British day. As for the game, not much to say. I thought we deserved to win. I thought we played well in the second half. Couple of words. I just want to pick out one player, and that's George Honeyman. I've been a semi-fan of his, and I thought he was magnificent and maybe man of the match instead of Ivanovic. But what a day. Off to Sheffield. Come on, you Lions.
Nick, Bobby T. Well, where do I fucking begin? Pompey, you Pompey motherfuckers. Jordan Archer at the beginning. Fucking West Ham Pots. Well, fucking hell, mate. That game was end-to-end cagey. I'm going to say it now, Nick Hart. Bobby T here, live somewhere in Bermondsey. Saw you in the clouds in the old cream top shirt. It's fucking baking today. Bobby T saw it and it got cut off there in the old heat wave. On this fucking podcast, Achtung Millwall, I've always said, I've always slated and cussed the coffee. I'm not going to say it's coffee thingy, coffee latte, coffee flat, Joe Black, Joe White. Sorry, Joe Bryan. I've said a lot of times, right, yeah, I'll be honest with you, right, yeah, shit player, wage thief, but today, the last few games, whatever Alex Neil has said to him, whatever, if he's changed his fucking coffee to green tea, Joe Bryan is my man of the match. Fucking solid. I mean, the way he went down on the roly-poly, like a 9.5 swim dive, like come dancing, my man of the match. And Marco comes on. I know he doesn't start bit part player, but he got the corner for the winner. Mihailo done nothing all game. Love you, Mihailo, the old big Serb. But for me, that was a battling cry. I still think like we're scenes is alive. Very scrappy game. Even when fucking Billy Mitchell come on down his butt. Langstaff, fuck me, mate. Is that the last we're going to see of Tatanga? Because Crammer now in the centre back with Cooper, blocking the back four solid. Their goal was fucking like pinball. Anyway, a win's a win. Ugly win. Pompey. Whoa, Pompey, play up, Pompey. Fuck off, Pompey, play up. Fucking pricks. We're staying up. No, you're not. Well, I don't give a shit, mate. Battling win. Did you say that again? Oh, sorry. I'm speaking to Achtung millwall. Shut up, you fucking Apple Watch. Bobby T, bye for now. Great result. Man of the match, Joe Bryan. And Marco done well. Come on, change the game. Mihailo. So, do you know what, Nick Hart? And all the old 2 set pieces. We didn't have a shot on target. We done 2 set pieces. Open play, nothing. Bit worrying. Let's get to the summer. Clear the deadwood. Right. Even Saville, a bit limit, I don't know. Casper, what a cross, Casper, for the goal. Crammer's coming in. Tango. It's been lovely having you, Royce. Money, 10 million in the bank, 3 good players. Bobby T signing off for the summer holidays. Bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.
Uh-oh, the last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
Wow, this house is cute. But can I really get in the game in this economy? I do have savings, and I am responsible-ish. I should bury it. I'm being wild. But what if I'm not being wild, though? Could I actually score a...
Kick off your home buying journey with Zillow's new buyability tool. It makes it easy to find out what you can afford, so you can get off the bench and onto the playing field with confidence. Check your buyability, only on Zillow.
Lowe's knows member-only doorbuster deals make SpringFest savings even better. Right now, rewards members can get 3 19.3-ounce Bonnie Plants vegetables and herbs for just $10. Plus, save $50 on a Charbroil Performance Series 4-burner grill, now $149. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/7, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location, subject to change. While supplies last. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms.
There you go, dear listeners. Inimitable stuff from Bobby T and also Aussie Dave as well. Good to have you over at the Dave. Hopefully I might see you at the Middlesbrough game. Strange idea actually of having a pilgrimage to the UK. You never really think of it. I suppose what you miss is the familiarity of the routine. As much as the lifestyle, I'm sure, is fantastic in Australia. I suppose it's the things that you would miss the most that always would hurt the most, I suppose. But I'm waffling, dear listeners. I know what I'm talking about now. I'm going down Bobby's route. Joe Bryan, I do agree with you, Bob, that Joe Bryan's a much improved player. Working with Alex Neil clearly suits him, and he's really come on a long way this season. He took a lot of criticism, didn't he, at the start of the campaign, and it's interesting to see how far he's come. Whether it's the last we'll see of Tanganga, I don't know. If he's broken his hand, as Alex Neil has said, or as implied to the BBC, then that would probably take him out for the remainder of this season. We've only got April really of it left to play with, and if we're going to move him on in the summertime, as we may well do, being realistic, then we've got to give him some recovery time, haven't we? Langstaff, I felt for him. He had a good chance at the end to try and get things back on the road again. Didn't take his chance, and it's been a bit of a difficult step up to Championship level. It's one thing to score goals in the National League and then League Two, listeners. It really is a difficult thing to step up to Championship level, and I think probably it was a punt and a gamble worth taking, but I think it probably will suit everyone for Macaulay to go back home. He'll probably go back to Notts County, I would imagine. Not that I have any insight onto that. What did Bobby team? Oh, Jordan Archer. Yeah. He was when he first came to us, listeners. Jordan Archer, I thought was going to be a really highly rated goalkeeper. Obviously, it went on to finish in the way it finished, and that's kind of a shame. But I find him a hard person to hate. I don't really hate on him. I will never forget a brilliant save he made. I think it was Berry when back in the league one day. He's a point blank save, which I probably got overly carried away with, and said it was Gordon Banks level 1970. It was a good save. It probably wasn't quite that level, but in the moment. It was fantastic. Then he had his times with us, and I can't really dig out players like Jordan Archer. I know it went all wrong in the end. As for Potts, yeah, he's at West Ham, isn't he? So he got told on Saturday what he was. Big thank you to Bobby T, and then Aussie Dave before that. Let's go over now to Angelo, then Lawrence Binney.
Hi Nick, it's Angelo here, mate. Just stuck in traffic after leaving the game. I thought, do you know what? Let's leave Nick a little voice note of my thoughts of the game today. Hope you're well, by the way, Nick. Yeah, it was. First half was a little bit drab, wasn't it? It was. I think we were on top, but just a bit poor. Not much entertainment. Second half, it come to life, didn't it? And two great goals from the BFS. I love this second goal, mate. Absolutely pinpoint cross from Denor, and just a Teddy Sheringham-esque header downwards into the corner. Beautiful goal. Loved it, mate. Can't wait to rewatch that goal. Brilliant. A couple of players that I thought did well today. I thought Joe Bryan, again, he's now Mr. Consistent. I thought he was great today. I thought Casper played brilliant. I was actually impressed with Honeyman today as well, Nick. I know he divides the fan base, but I thought he put in a reasonable performance today. The two strikers were a little bit quiet, and what I love about the BFS is that he has got such a high... I'm in the sales industry, Nick, and we work on sales conversions. This guy has got a unbelievable conversion for chances to goals. He does not get many chances, but he tends to put the chances away. I really trust him when he gets a chance. And I'm going to say it again, I love that header, mate. Beautiful. Imaku, again, when he comes on as a sub, dangerous, causes havoc. Couple of times he had a chance to cross where he should have dinked it to the back post, but he kept trying to cross it low. I think he needs to work on that, like dinking the ball to the back post. But great performance. My son was telling me that the Portsmouth bench gave the fans in it just behind them a lot of grief when they equalised. They were celebrating in front of them, so it was glorious for us to stick it straight back down their throats by getting that late winner. But yeah, listen, still a chance. I believe we're only 6 points away from the playoffs. I know it's a very, very slim chance, but you never know. But yeah, good second half. The only downside I've got to say, Nick, is we're still not really creating many chances, are we? And that's got to be what we work on the summer. We've got to start producing more chances. But listen, we've got to win. The sun's out. The traffic is just about to clear up. So yeah, good day. Nick, look after yourself, mate, and come on, you Lions.
Oh, it is lovely to see Millwall win in the sunshine. Right, Nick, it's Lawrence Binney here calling in after Millwall 2, Portsmouth 1. Another late winner. I mean, how many has that been this season? I feel like we never used to score goals late on, but this season we must have scored about 6 or 7. And it always seems to be, or it always feels like it's Ivanovic at the end of them. How many crucial goals has he scored this season? Every goal he scored has earned us points. Today it's earned us all 3. At other points, a point at Preston, point against Derby, got us all 3 against Portsmouth in the previous fixture, got us all 3 against Plymouth earlier in the season. Was it Plymouth? Well, another shit team. It was, in lots of ways, I think the same problems are still there. There is a kind of disfluency in attack. I think Neil has he's sort of settled on a 4-4-2 for now. Just, experimenting, trying things out. But I think there's also He's a very savvy manager, and I think or head coach rather. And I think he realises you kind of need to keep the fans on side. So we've gone a bit more direct. It's a bit more attritional. We're not really creating chances from open play. But I think today what we did have was quality in the right moments. Absolutely delicious cross from Denor, and some really lovely set plays actually. Brian and Honeyman delivering effective crosses from dead ball situations. Just to kind of, I don't really have much more to add in terms of the general pattern. I mean, it was tedious in parts, but I did think we were very energetic at least today, and kept going to the very end. Just to kind of mention a few individuals, I like the look of Aaron Conley, but I'm starting to worry that we don't know, and he doesn't know what his best position is. Is he a winger? Is he a striker? Is he a number 10? And also, kind of, despite his technical ability, it's a delight to watch him trap a ball and turn. He's definitely got very good technique. A bit worried about what the end product is with him, and his decision making sometimes. Sometimes he would pull away from a player and not play the pass in time, or dawdle, and the opening would disappear. Almost kind of like slightly, or a championship version of Aidan O'Brien in that respect. Who else? Denor. I mean, I think along with Brian, I think he's been our best player under Neil. He's just been superb, I think, over the past few weeks. He's really kind of, he's played in the Champions League, and he's starting to show, I think, maybe not Champions League quality, but top European or top flight European League quality. Really, really influential on the ball now as well as off it. Saville had a decent game. I really thought, sometimes he puts in performances like this and you think, oh, wow, maybe you're not completely past it. And we see the Saville of old. Brian, like I said, just been spotless, just doing everything right since Neil came in. Seems to be really enjoying his football. Ivanovic, he was sort of playing the channels quite a bit. And I think Coburn was the lightning rod up front. And he was making himself busy, if not being that effective. I don't think playing on as a wide forward is his forte. But there's just I can't really remember a Millwall striker like him. Maybe Harris in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it was just whenever he got a chance, or a sniff on goal, you just know he's going to take it. He has almost, it's basically Premier League conversion rates. I would love to see, if there are any statos out there, anyone who has access to those metrics, what his expected goals are compared to his actual goals, because I reckon he's outperforming it by some way. He's just so deadly in any position in that penalty area, and occasionally outside of it too. If he could just get a little bit more involved, as he did in the second half, of those flicks and holding the ball up, I think we've got a potential 15-20 million pound striker on our hands. But hey, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Aside from that, I just thought the whole team was pretty steady, to be honest. I think Coburn didn't get much change out of a very pernickety ref, who seemed to kind of, seem to think this is like a game of, I'm trying to think, I'm too tired to think of an equivalent non-contact sport, but, he really wasn't having any sort of physical stuff at all. So kind of, I think one of those performances where there's a lot of graft, but maybe not a lot of quality. Who else is there? Tanganga, hopefully it's not a serious injury, although I thought Kramer did well when he came back in. Imaku, I think, showed why he's such a valuable asset off the bench, but probably not a starter. Brilliant reverse pass for Langstaff, who just cannot buy a goal, can he? Poor bloke. Anyway, we find ourselves in that position again where people start saying silly things like we still a mathematical route to the playoffs. I guess there still is. I think it's more interesting to think there's a chance, just so those final 3 home games aren't dead rubbers. But I think realistically, even if we were to beat Sheffield Wednesday away, like it would take pretty much winning the rest of the games as well, which we've never really looked like doing all season, kind of putting together that sort of run of form. But yeah, just great to see a few goals at the Den for once. And me and my dad went home very happy in the sunshine. All right, Nick. Sorry for the long ramble. Hope you're well. Come on, you Lions.
Fantastic stuff, Lawrence, and big thank you to Angelo before Lawrence. Some good content there. Both, of course, raving rightly about the BFS, Eva, Miha, whatever name you want to attach to him. I do agree with both Angelo and Lawrence. I really, really like the look of Ivanovic. I've said it before, it's an American sports term. He's a big-time player. He steps up to big situations. The conversion rate that Angelo's talking about, I think Lawrence mentioned it as well. I don't know. It must be high. Certainly in terms of danger in and around the box, you do get a sense that he's always looking for the goal, and that's wonderful to have. Good comparison when we're sharing them. I think was Angelo's comparison with that second header, wasn't it? It was a really nicely finished one. Both nice finishes. And also Harris. I think it was Lawrence compared him with Harris, the young Harris. Yeah, I agree 100% with you boys. I mean, it'd be wonderful to see what the coaching staff can do with him, given a good pre-season and, working with maybe better players around him. I think there's going to be a lot of toing and froing. We've signed some players we haven't barely seen yet. Benicio. We haven't really seen much of Camille Negley, one way and the other. Zach Lovelace, who knows? It's going to be interesting to see what quality players, and I'd include Casper De Noor. I think it was it was Lawrence who mentioned Casper De Noor playing at a high level, Champions League level football. But it's bringing some players that can maybe, if they haven't been there already, that maybe have the ingredients. I think next season is going to be an exciting one possibly of further development. I'm not sure whether we'll be in a position to challenge for the top 6 next season, but the development towards that target is the wine of life for me. I think it's the general thrust of where we're aiming at and how close we might get to it. That's always the joy of following a club like Millwall. Just to go back to Angelo's point about the Pompey bench, the players were celebrating down in front of me. I'm in block 1, as listeners probably know. And when they equalised, they came over and really were giving it large. I think there'd been some verbals earlier on. I think one or two of the Pots particularly, who Bobby mentioned earlier on, had caught a bit of earache. And one or two of the players there clearly thought they had settled their scores with the West Lower, the Kitchener Lower. And that made the winning goal all the more sweet when it did go in, because they came over giving it, provocative gestures. And I always think if you come over to a place like Millwall and start provoking, you probably will get, what's that internet term? FAFO, is it? I think that was what they got a little bit there. But anyway, it's good to see the winning goal go in and put some sugar in the cup of tea of the afternoon for me. It made it all the sweeter. So big thank you to Angelo and to Lawrence. We're going to go now with Matt Richards and then Adam Wicks, dear listeners. Stay tuned.
Hello. This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was getting frustrated by your forms. Now Taxes is uploading your forms with a snap, and a TurboTax expert will do your taxes for you. One who's backed by the latest tech, which cross-checks millions of data points for absolute accuracy, all of which makes it easy for you to get the most money back, guaranteed. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Nick, Matt Richards, just driving back from the Den after that very, very good win, very good win. Thought we definitely deserved that. If we hadn't won that game, then bloody hell, we needed shooting really. We dominated it. I thought we dominated it. Portsmouth didn't do anything, and their goal was just an absolute
I need to. Well, I don't want to watch it back, but I need to watch it back because it's just a calamity. How that went in, I just don't know. But we deserved the win. Wasn't impressed by Portsmouth at all. A tough, aggressive team, weren't they? I suppose because they've been fighting relegation all year, haven't they? So it's supposed to be expected. Nice sunny, windy day at the Den. Decent crowd. It was good stuff. Did we play well? So I think we dominated, and we're getting lots of crosses in, lots of throws, quite a few corners, and actually decent balls in from corners as well. Never really created clear-cut chances, though, did we? Really, all game, apart from the goals. So obviously a lot to work on there. But good goals by Ivanovic, a couple of good headers, good crosses in as well by Honeyman and also Kasper. So so very, very, very pleased with that. And I think we're 6 points off top six now, but we're not good enough for the playoffs. We've got a tough game anyway Tuesday night. Sheffield United will be, especially up there, lost today, so they'll be up for it on Tuesday. But I don't mind that. I think there's enough there for me to be positive about next year. When you think about the players we've got missing a lot of creativity there. Negley, Aziz, Bagura, Williams. All those players that weren't available today. That's without even going on to like your Lovelaces and your AJ Matthews and all of those. So yeah, if we're getting wins like that, comfortable wins, even though it was late in the day, I'm okay with that because I think next year, hopefully, we've got a chance of actually kicking on with maybe a few more signings in the summer to kick on and actually definitely challenge the playoffs next year without a doubt. Players wise, I don't know if anybody really stood out today. I think if I had to go man of the match, I think Joe Bryan had another good game. I suppose Ivanovic because he scored 2 goals really. So I think I have to go with him. But I thought Joe played well. I think Connolly. There's been a lot of talk about Connolly, and he did that interview in the week, didn't he? And I don't know. He's definitely got the quality there. His decision making today probably wasn't the best. So I think it's just a frustration because you can see the touch he's got. He's quality, but didn't see enough of him today really. Maku when he came on as well, I think the more we see of Idemo, the more we realise that he's got one thing, and that's his pace. He just pushes it past and then gets the ball over, and I think that's all he can do. I know it's an unfair thing to say, but that's all he can do. And there was that weird moment as well where the ball was going. He thought the ball was going off for a throw, and he just gave up, and he didn't even bother running back for it, and it stayed on. So I don't know. He's an interesting character, Idemo. It's just a bit. So I think we'll have better options next year for Idemo and also for Connolly hopefully as well. So pleased with that. Pleased with a 2-1 win. What the rest of the season brings, kind of who cares really. So it's all about next season for me. But not bad. Going down the Den in the sunshine, winning 2-1. I'll take that every week. Okay, Nick. Cheers, mate. Take care. See ya. Bye.
Morning, Nick. Just Adam Wicks here, leaving my thoughts after yesterday's decent 2-1 home win against Portsmouth. Interesting game, I thought. I thought we deserved to win it. First half was just a little bit of a war of attrition between the two sides, really. No one really gained control of things. I thought we had some decent spells, but they threatened us a little bit also. Obviously, Tanganga injury seems like, well, I'm not sure what it is, but it looked like his arm was sort of in an auxiliary sling in his shirt, which doesn't bode well for the remainder of the season, really, which would be a shame. I thought Crammer slotted in there quite well when he needed to, and it seemed to unsettle Cooper though, not having Tanganga by his side, as is normal for him, I suppose, when he has a defensive partner change. Good to see Leonard back, and obviously he slipped in like he'd never been out. And then obviously, second half is pretty much where all the action is, isn't it? I thought we were, it was sort of a half of 3/3, wasn't it? In essence, the first sort of 10, 12, 15 minutes, we were well on top. Got a deserved goal, decent header from Ivanovic, decent ball from Honeyman, to be fair. And then for some reason, we just totally surrendered the initiative. I'll never understand why we do it to ourselves. We love to make things difficult rather than seeking that killer goal. We think a goal, one goal lead's going to be enough, and you could see that equaliser come in 10 minutes before they scored. I've been quite pleased with Alex Neil's ability to sort of make subs early enough and try and have an impact on things. He must have been able to see the direction of travel there, and it looked like we needed, to my eyes anyway, it looked like we needed an outlet, or just to freshen things up. Coburn obviously looked knackered. He did a hell of a lot of donkey work for Ivanovic yesterday, I would say. And Connolly, I thought, did, in the time he was on the pitch, he did everything Amaku didn't do last week at Sunderland. And I do like the look of Connolly, but it really helped us when Amaku came on, because it obviously gave them something to think about, going the other way. And I think he did have an impact. I think he won the corner that led to the second goal. And what a ball in by Denor. And then miraculously we're still, what are we now? A couple of 6 points outside the top six, and I think we're not going to get in the top six. We've got no right to, and we haven't been good enough to do that. I think the fact that we're even knocking around the top 10 shows probably what a weak league it's been this year. But also, I think the danger is thinking that that big changes are needed to have a better outcome. But I really think it's little 1 and 2% is the difference between us being a top 5, top 6 side and being bobbing around 12th to 10th. It's just the little stuff, and hopefully we can tighten up on that next season, bring a little bit more, a little bit more quality in, and kick on. I will say though, I'd love to know what Ivanovic's goals per chance conversion is. He must be right up there. He just seems to, if he gets a good chance, he tends to finish it, doesn't he? I mean, I'm not talking about little quarter chance, half chances or snapshots or anything like that, but if he gets a decent opportunity to finish, he is absolutely ruthless. And I can see him going for big money just on that basis. I hope, I'm sure we'll probably have a few inquiries this summer for him, but hopefully we can we can stick some opportunities on a plate for him next season. He is going to be a 20 plus goal a season Championship striker. So whether it's next season or the season after, we give him the opportunities, he is going to be getting between 20 and 30 goals, and that is something we haven't had for a long time. So I think if we can keep feeding him, and he stays fit, and we can keep things tight, then could be an interesting season next season. But anyway, on to Sheffield United in the week, which is going to be a very hard game. But obviously they lost to Oxford yesterday, didn't they? So going to need a reaction. Anyway, come on, you Lions.
Cheers, Adam, and cheers, Matt. Before Adam, tomorrow night Sheffield, they got beat at the weekend. You're right, Adam. Pressure is a strange thing, dear listeners, isn't it? And the weight of expectation. They've been in the top 2, the top 3. They would have an expectation that they're going to get automatic promotion back to the weekly pummeling of the Premier League. But to get that close and still not have the deal sealed, it does create a certain pressure. Let's hope we can trade on that. I do think that we're going up there on a wing and a prayer, really, with the amount of injuries that we've carried all season. But yeah, I mean, both Matt and Adam, and I think others throughout this show, have made the point, which I agree with 100%. It's all about the lack of, or the amount of, whichever way around you want to put it, of chance creation. If we don't create the chances, as good a striker as it seems Ivanovic is, and I do believe he's a good striker, and if you give him the right kind of opportunity, listeners, and I think Josh Coburn is a decent striker. Whether we can do a deal for him as well, it remains to be seen. But if we're not creating the chances, then Ibrahimovic himself won't score many if he's not getting the ball in the right kind of slots. So that's going to be the problem for Alex Neil to solve next season. I've said already, I think, on this show and probably on others, I may even be boring you, dear listener, that we haven't seen Benicio Botti. We haven't really seen much of Camille Negli. We really want to see the flowering and the kind of the opening out of Reece Bangura Williams. And who knows what Zach Lovelace is going to be like. He left us in high dudgeon, and we don't really know what we're going to get back because he's come straight into the surgeon's room. So it's going to be an interesting campaign next season, plus any moves that we can make to lose some of the older heads that have been around the track a few times at the Den, move them on and bring in some newer blood. It might need one or two to go out, as we've seen with Zian Fleming and then Romain Esse. I suppose the obvious candidate might be Jeffat Tanganga if that all comes to pass. We may even see approaches at some point for Mihailo Ivanovic, mightn't we, listeners? That's another thing. But anyway, all round the corner. Fingers crossed for tomorrow night at Sheffield United. I'll be watching it on the telly. That's probably it for this show, dear listeners. And I will be back on Wednesday speaking with Merv to see how it all went at Bramall Lane, whether the season can rumble on for another few days to Middlesbrough at the Den. Incidentally, before I go, Matt mentioned the wonder of sunshine at the Den. It was a beautiful afternoon on Saturday. I just wanted to take my hat off to the club for the continuing improvements they're showing all around the ground, but especially at the CBO. And there's a DJ playing down there. They give him like a booth on top of the porter cabins, the catering porter cabins and whatnot. And it creates a nice atmosphere. And well done to the club for seeing that. It's a revenue opportunity. You get people going down there early, drinking and meeting up with pals, you know. So fair play. Hats off to the club for that. There we are, dear listeners. Big thank you to you for listening. Thank you to everyone who's contributed to the show. Great to hear some familiar names again on the show. And we're back on Wednesday, later in the week. So till then, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.